This is a Prestige 420. Now this was actually a new model last year. It replaced the previous Prestige 420 and they changed the layout inside, and I'll explain to you exactly what was changed, but we'll step on at the back here. This is a high-low platform. This will lift up to about 150 kilograms, so it's really for a small ribbon and outboard engine. They will live on these chocks here and you could raise it up out of the water. The other thing we find back here, which is pretty useful, is underneath here, because this is, it's a bit full of gear at the moment, but that is a massive storage locker right back under the seats, and in fact you can access that underneath the back seat in the cockpit as well, so you don't have to come out here to open it if you don't want to. There we go. That one there, trying to fall over, is the shore power inlet, and also you can see this is so you can plug in hoses in or out. So with that one there, plug a hose into there and you have basically a mains freshwater system straight from the marina to the boat rather than having to keep filling up the tank. Other thing we've got out here, transom shower. This then is the cockpit, which is a nice big area, and there are canopies. Those ones we saw underneath that locker actually zip into this, so this whole thing can enclose a little bit like that boat over there, so it just infills all of this and makes it almost into like a conservatory area. But if we head inside, I'll explain the new differences of this layout. So on the previous one you had the galley aft, and then you had access down to the owner's cabin back here, which was very nice, private access, but of course inevitably it encroached into the saloon area. So with this one, what they've done is put the access, we'll see it, down to the lower deck, back to the mid cabin, downstairs, and that makes this just a lot bigger area. So if we go into here, this is a control system for the boat, so you can get into things like batteries and water tanks and that kind of thing, and see how much water or battery capacity and so forth that you've got. That's that water system that we saw from outside, so that switches on the remote water system, and that one there is the main battery isolators. It's electric cooking on this one, that's an upgrade. Standard is gas, but this has got the electric cooker and the electric hob as a generator that run those, as well as the shore power running them, of course. And then back here, this is just storage areas. This is actually an owner's boat, this one, which is why there's a load of stuff on it. But that's all storage and a bin like so, and a bit more storage tucked away up here. And then on the other side, another upgrade on this one. Normally you just have a standard fridge freezer. This one's had the drawer fridge and drawer freezer, so this is quite a lot bigger. So that opens like that. It's just a massive freezer compartment there. And that one then is a huge fridge. But what they've also had on this boat is a wine cooler added down here. That's just normally a storage area. More storage up here, and then a really social area here, because you've got seating, of course, on both sides. And this is much bigger than it was in the previous model. Another thing that's changed on this one is this table. Now this is height adjustable. There's a button up here, and you can see it's on a leg, and you can push that and the whole thing drops down like so. We'll bring it back up again, leave it up for the minute. But the idea of that, of course, is you can drop it down and make it like a coffee table, or you can have it up at this height, put a little catch underneath, which is that one, and then that swings around like that, opens up, and you've got a decent sized dining table. The other thing you can do with that, in fact, is you can lower that down with it at its full size and make that into another bed, so that becomes a double bed up here on this deck. On the other side then, you've got the helm position. There's an opening window here. There's an option of an opening window on the other side if you want it. This owner didn't specify it. And then up here you've got things like your multifunction displays, so that's charts, as you can see over on this side, engine instrumentation, and then switches for things like wipers and bilge pumps and trim tabs and so forth. That's all there. That one there is an autopilot. And then engine controls are over here, and this one has the joystick control on it as well. And the last thing we find then up on this level is in here. This is TV. Dead easy, and tucks away like that. The one next to it is just a bit of storage again, like so, and a charger. There we go. Those little circular fellows, incidentally, those are demisting for the windscreen, so that if you're coming here and it's raining outside and your clothes are wet and so on, then stops all that from misting up. Let's head on down There's two options of wood on here. There's Wengate or there's this grey oak, which is a lighter finish. This looks very nice. It's very contemporary, but if you wanted the darker finish, then you can have it. And then right at the front of the boat, I'm reluctant to say whether this is an owner's cabin or a guest cabin, because actually they're pretty evenly sized, so you can choose for yourself which you prefer. Hull windows down here, so we've got a view out of, oh, you can see that, Swanwick Marina today. Little opening section, as you can see, and then that one there is a big hanging locker, and then more storage about the place like that, and also on this side as well, so that one opens up in the same way. The other thing that you have here is ensuite access straight into the day heads. That door's there, it's open at the moment. Let's close that one over. There we go. So that takes you straight into the day heads, and in fact that's that door that I just pushed over. So that goes like that. If you're wondering what that is a little seat in the shower, like so. And that has a screen here that comes across, so you can keep that area separate and keep all this dry if you want to. Now there's an interesting thing about this, because this boat has got two cabins and two heads, and of course at night, by using this door, they're both en suite. However, if it's perhaps just a couple who want to spend a long time on the boat, less bothered about having two toilets because they don't have guests quite so often, you can have this more like a utility room with a washing machine in here and a bit more storage and that sort of stuff. Really good if you're buying the boat, perhaps you've retired and you just want to keep it in the med and go down there for a couple of months at a time. That would allow you to do it. And if you come around here, this is probably the master cabin, because this has its own dedicated ensuite, and this is the toilet you get. If you lose the other one, you keep this one regardless. If you come right down here, there we go. That's actually a pretty decent cabin, isn't it? Storage all the way along here. TV in here as well. So this all opens like so. And again, you've got big hull windows. That circular one is an opening section, and you've got blinds that drop down there as well. And that one is a big hanging locker, illuminated. That's quite nicely done. There we go. Let's spin that one around. More storage on the other side, and another big hull window. And that ensuite I mentioned, that's in here. And again, similar sort of thing, separate shower, like so. And then this closes off, same sort of way. And then you've got your toilet and your sink at this end. Most of them go out with this layout, 2 cabins, 2 toilets. So you have this as an ensuite, and then that one with its ensuite access to the day head. But as I say, if you want, you can swap that out for a utility room. I think that's a nice idea if you're spending a lot of time and it's just a couple on the boat. That's a bit of storage underneath there, in case you're wondering, for the drinks. And then back down here will take us back out to the cockpit. We'll have a walk around the decks first of all. We'll take in the Flybridge as well, of course, and then we'll finish off with the engines. Let's put my shoes back on, do the shoe dance. There we go. So quite decent side decks on this. I like they put a rail here just to help you around the boat. It's worth mentioning, that's that opening side window, that although this is a Flybridge version, there is a 420S, and that has a solid roof across here, none of this, just a flat roof, but a big opening sunroof, which means the lower helm then becomes open by virtue of just sliding the roof back. And that obviously keeps the air draft down, which is useful if you're somewhere where you need to get under a bridge. But also, some people just prefer to have less boat to clean, they don't want to use the Flybridge. Just depends how you use it, so you just obviously select whichever option you prefer. Sunbeds on the front here, you can see it's got lift up sections, which is nice. You can sit and look out across the front of the boat. And if we carry on down here, again, decent wide side decks, nice rail to hang on to. And this is the ladder then that takes us up to the Flybridge. So of course, if you have the S version with the roof and nothing above it, and the big opening section inside, then of course you lose this ladder for obvious reasons, because there's nothing up here. But on the Flybridge you get this, and what we have here is a big seating area around the back. This one's got the bimini on. This will fold away, or you can have it up as it is at the minute for a bit of shade. There's a barbecue up here, and a fridge underneath it, and a little sink, as you can see. And then up here, this is sunbathing, so you can have this lifted up at the back and lie there and look forward, or you can drop it down completely flat, of course. And another helm position, so this is where you drive the boat from if you want to be outside. And again, you've got things like the throttles, steering, of course, the joystick control, repeater for the multifunction display, rev counters up here as well. And that was a helm indicator. That tells you when you've got some lock on. Of course, you can't see how much the rudders are turned. Well, you can with that, because it points and shows how much lock you have on. There we go. Last thing to talk about then is the engines. No crew cabin on this, because of course this is an owner operator size, so you'd handle this boat yourself. Very comfortable size for two people to handle, actually. So if we go in here, there are two ways down to the engine space. The engines are actually underneath here. In fact, I think I'll show you this, but then we'll go down the other one. So that opens up like that, and we need to give those a little twist as well. There we go. And those are the engines. Now we can get down through here. You can see there's a ladder down, but probably a better way down is, in fact, I'll leave that up, I think, for a minute. It'll get plenty of light into there. But if we open this one, here we go. There's another ladder here. And this then is the engine space. You can see the other hatch up through there. Now these are Cummins engines. The standard engine in this boat is 380 horsepower each. These are upgraded to 425. They're a 6.7 litre engine, so they're a pretty meaty engine. And they're giving the boat over 30 knots. So for a Flybridge boat, it's pretty decent performance, cruising there for about 25 and a range of about 200 miles. But these are actually on V drives. And what that means is that the engines are right at the very back of the boat, but then they're conventional shaft drive. And in order to do that, what they do is they bring the power out the front. The V-boxes are here. You can see the front of the shaft there. And it sends the power back underneath the engines. I don't know whether you can see these. Let's have a look, see if we can get right down there. Not quite. Well, yes, you can actually, just there. That's the shaft going back out under the boat and out. So it gives you a conventional shaft drive underneath the boat, but it puts the engines further back, so that's quite clever. That's what gives you all that accommodation inside. Fuel tanks are outboard on either side, and the generator lives in here as well. That's that fella up in the front of the engine room. There we go. All right, let's come back out of here. And we'll drop that one back down. And that one back down. There we go. And we'll finish off, I think, up at the helm. And we'll say thank you to Ancaster, the dealers for these. They've organised this tour for me. And huge thanks as ever to you guys for watching. We'll catch you on another one of these very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.